Welcome, Sojourners. This is Jonathan with Sojourners Awake. This is a production of the Bookish and the Brave, in which the Sojourners press through the forest with all their strength and move onward towards Bald Top Library. But as always, how that occurs is up to the player's choices, actions, and sometimes even a roll of the dice. If you enjoy this background music and ambiance, check out Tabletop Audio at www.tabletopaudio.com. Support their work there. They do great things at providing excellent quality music and ambiance for your tabletop role-playing games, or, let's face it, just to have on in the background while you do your chores and study. And so for now, our story continues. From the turmoil in Boshin, aflame with fire and light, and into the safety of the Laughing Ghost Inn, the Sojourners traveled onward to Bald Top Library. While in the Laughing Ghost Inn, they met a specter, attempting to force itself within their corporal form, within their body. However, after a timed struggle, the Sojourners were able to dispel the creature back into the furnace from where it came. Their guide, Halal, left back for Boshin to attend to private matters and clients of great repute, while his younger brother, Holith, led the Sojourners through the wildlands on the way to Bald Top Library. During one of the nights, Hawkins disturbed a redwood tree in which housed a dryad, an accursed fairy spirit, and by process of elimination, she seemed to have chosen Vaughn as her new mate. After casting fairy magic and spells upon him, the dryad leapt and disappeared through the tree highway, taking Vaughn with her, teleporting him to safely on the other side of the forest. Meanwhile, after disturbing a vicious fairy ring, Hawkins and Sterling found themselves surrounded by wolves of resplendent color with long peacock tail feathers, seductive howls, and saliva that drips like honey and wine. And so our story continues. Vaughn, you are standing in the middle of the dark forest. All around you, the trees have pushed beyond the expanse as far as your eyes can see. And there before you, as promised, the road into Bald Top Library. And even in the distance now, you can see the small lights of this wonderful white citadel against a black midnight sky. An owl hoots on a tree nearby after feeding itself. And we have a moment to see what Vaughn is accomplishing during this time, this very long wait time, in which no dryad, Hawkins, or Sterling has appeared through a tree just yet.
Vaughn he clears the area first just to make sure that there's nothing sneaking up on him. And then he's going to find a tree that he can lean against that he seems to feel safest in, but also see the tree that Triina brought him through so that he can keep an eye out for his companions. And he'll look around every once in a while. He'll glance up at the library every once in a while. But his primary focus and attention is on the tree, waiting to see if they come through and making sure that this place is safe when they do.
Well, you look around and you see the owl begins to crawl down the tree. Slowly it extends a long talon that grows into a leg, and eventually the wing grasps a hold of the bark and fingers grip tight on the tree trunk, and then the back of a man is exposed. A naked man, and nearby he snaps his fingers, and out from the ground a familiar green robe He wraps himself around it. Holith looks around, wipes the mouse blood from his lips, and looks around to make sure no one has seen him. He takes up his walking stick and begins to walk back towards the path and mutters to himself, "Now, where have those sojourners gone?" And as soon as he says that, he turns around and sees you. How do you appear?
Vaughn looks he looks concerned, but he's standing tall and strong. He has his robe on, and I've been watching him the whole time, and so I avert my eyes a little bit. Well, he has his robe on again, so it's okay. I just look at him, and when he turns around, I say, Holith, what about the others? They're not.
Vaughn. Oh, good, you made it. Were you following me?
No, well, it's a long story, but there was this creature that I forced me to kiss her and then brought me through the trees to here. She said she was going back to get Sterling and Hawkins, but she has not returned.
He looks back and forth just to make sure no one else is in the area. And then he sheepishly looks at you and says, how long were you watching?
Well, I saw an owl and I watched it eat the mouse, and then I noticed you back in the tree, and then you were walking away.
What is Vaughn's body language like at this moment?
He's a little uncomfortable, maybe a little fidgety, kind of rocking back and forth, but he's not telling a lie. He's just trying to save the embarrassment of watching him transition back into a naked man.
Holith, not being one for formality, says, I like the way fresh rodents taste. It's not a sin, it's not a crime, and if you have a problem with it, you can take it up with the old faith. I've been told that I'm okay. Okay, so I know it's not completely kosher, it's not completely acceptable in many realms, and my brother definitely does not approve. So if you're one of those people that thinks that a druid is not entitled to experience the full extent of their wild shape, then I I don't know what to do.
I do not know about wild shape and druid, but I know that I like animal and I eat it. And if you like small animals, I am okay with that.
He looks at you inquisitively, almost ready to continue the argument, and having not put up a fight, he relaxes his shoulders and says, "So what? The others are just... I mean, you walked through a tree? Oh my... You encountered a dryad."
Is that what she was? She was beautiful, and all of a sudden I had to kiss her.
Well, I mean, any fairy is going to tempt mortals with all kinds of experiences. I mean, she'll take arm, leg, your firstborn child. She'll take everything she can. You got yourself quite into a mess. But the others, they're back with the dryad, I assume, kissing her as well?
I don't know if they're kissing her, but she said she was going to go back and get them, and I'm concerned that they may be in danger.
Can you get back through the tree?
I do not think so. Fawn's going to walk over to the tree and try to step into it. He's not going to just run into it like an idiot, but he's going to go put his hand on it and try to go into it.
Your hand rests against the hard bark of the tree, and you hear Holith just, oh my God, oh by the gods. Well, I am a little tapped from my magical energy at this point. Otherwise, I could help. Do you know how far you traveled?
Well, we went through several trees. We were going very, very fast. I don't know how long, but it was long enough to feel a little dizzy.
You were probably back at the camp where I left you. I will very quickly get myself there. You just sit here and wait. Okay. Well, you've seen it once, you'll see it again. And he begins to slowly crack his neck and his spine, and his bones begin cracking into small avian form. This time he turns into a small crow, flies away, and disappears into the night.
Vaughn is, he's not 100% unfamiliar, but it's still, he hasn't experienced it like this before. So he's a little bewildered, a little contemplative. Like, what is, there's so much to this world that I didn't understand. The magics that I've seen, and now this magic, I have a lot to learn.
And Vaughn takes all that in silently. Sterling, even though you were not present, how do you imagine Vaughn sitting there in the night? You as well, Hawkins.
Sterling imagines Vaughn is quite comfortable being outdoors and meditating. So he imagines that he is just kind of stoic and ready, propped up against a tree, with his sword across his lap, just kind of taking it all in.
Yeah, I think Hawkins has pretty much the same impression. If that's correct, Ted, then you've done a great job showing us who Vaughn is.
I think Vaughn, after sensing that Hollis didn't feel like there was any danger around here, he may, if the time continues more than a few minutes, he may take out the long sword and just start working with it, swinging it around, trying to swing his short sword a little bit the way he knows how, and then take the long sword and swing that as well to try to mimic the same movements. And of course it doesn't move quite the same, so he's just trying to see how he can wield that as well as he does the short sword.
Sterling and Hawkins, the fairy wolves begin to surround you, barking and yipping. The bark of the redwood tree behind you is as hard as a door. All around you, pressed up, is the forest, which is thick with brambles and vines and trees, very densely packed. Beyond the wolves is the path that continues toward Baldtop, in which you were heading. With no Hollis, no Trina, no Vaughn, please roll initiative. Hawkins, you are first, but I would like to remind that Sterling, you cast Ice Knife. So I will allow you to go and make that attack against one of the creatures.
So he knows what this spell does and that it has like an air of effect after image. So he's gonna aim for the dead center to try and get the most out of that. And with his roll, he gets a 14.
The attack hits.
Okay, so with the attack hits, it does a d10 of damage, it does 8 damage.
Whew.
And then to anything within 5 foot of it, it does additional 9 points of damage.
I would assume you would attack the one closest.
Yeah, the one in the middle to try and get as many in like that AoE effect.
Very good. So the other two wolves will also take damage. What do they have to do? Dex save?
Yeah, Dex save. Dex saving throw. My 14 is the DC.
I got a 12 and a 6.
Yeah, they both take the 9.
9 points of damage. Wow. Sterling, before this battle even begins, you have quite a successful feat in just really injuring these fairy wolves with this powerful ice magic. I would like you to describe how that happens, and Hawkins, you have a chance to respond.
So as soon as Sterling started seeing these wolves kind of congregate, that was when he pulled out his water skin. He was just ready, in danger, to know what to do. His training kicks in, and he pulls out his water skin and starts dropping a little bit out. And as it drops, it slowly freezes on his skin. And then he just casts it right at it. And it like goes right in, pierces one wolf. And then as it pierces, it explodes into a big pile of like ice shards. And they just fresh out and stick in them like a...
Hawkins was starting to run as this ice knife flew over his shoulder, and he sees it strike, and like the wolves recoil from it. And he pauses, like he slows down a step and looks back over his shoulder and sees that it came from Sterling. It's like, wow.
It's not over yet. Stay in the fight.
Hawkins, you're at the top of the initiative. You indicated that you were running towards the wolves trying to break free, so you are in melee range with most of them.
Okay. I think last time I took a whole bunch of damage.
You did. You took 7 points of damage. Or
Okay.
7 or 8, yeah.
Okay. Yep. All right. So Hawkins will take the disengage action to try to slide through their ranks.
Ooh, nice.
And as a bonus action, will pull out. So as he's sort of maneuvering through them, using his focus and attention to avoid their bites and claws, he's also pulling out the lion, and it has a little burst of warmth, and he takes his what's it called? Second wind. He gets a second wind from this lion and recovers 6 hit points as he moves 25 feet through them.
Yeah, you do. Sliding right between them, the ice blasting in their face, giving you a moment to disengage, healing yourself along the way. The Steel Defender robotically follows along with you. It is engaged in one simple action: to protect, to protect. It keeps whispering to you. Its single reaction is to impose disadvantage on any attack against you. It is a lion, correct?
Yes.
A young male lion moving alongside of you. Sterling, it's now your turn.
So Sterling, seeing that Hawkins getting through, he's in safety, that the ice knife was quite effective, he is going to again reach into he's going to try and stay at a distance. He's going to move back a little bit now and try and split the pack, and try and hit them with his sling that was so effective in the shop as well. So he'll do the same thing where he reaches into his herbalism kit and crushes the herbs on the stone, say a magic word with the power of the archer, load it in his sling, and let rip. He's going to aim for the most damaged one that he sees, one that's looking like it's struggling the most as well, and it is a 9 to hit.
Does not. Okay, you're staying there?
He moved back a bit.
Okay, so you're moving back.
So yeah, move back 30. Well, 15.
It is now the wolves' turn. Hawkins, you look like a little bit more of a tasty and easy treat. All right, here we go.
Goodbye.
They get pack tactics. So they get advantage. And then one of the attacks will have a straight roll because the Steel Defender is protecting you. All right, so they have a +4 to hit. That's going to be a 13.
Meets.
11.
Miss.
A 7.
Yay.
And last one, straight roll. 20.
All right.
So 2 hits, correct?
Yes.
11 points of damage.
Hawkins goes down.
All right. What ends up happening is they just bite right into your leg as you're moving, and it just sends a shock through your system. Your body instinctively goes into shock, and you fall to the ground. You are prone. The wolves are surrounding you, and your Steel Defender is just standing over your body, ready to snap at one of the wolves. They surround you.
Cries out. Ah!
Hawkins, it's your turn. Make a death save.
1.
Oh my gosh. This is not fun. All right, someone think of something clever. Sterling, it's your turn. Oh, dang it.
So Sterling is going to move closer, and he sees 10, 20, 30. And he sees Hawkins go down, and he just hits his knees. He can't believe that these 4 wolves are just chewing on his buddy. And as he looks down, he looks up at the stars and holds up his sea glass to it to kind of give him that comfort. And as he does, this starlight comes and just hits that sea glass, and you start seeing these constellations just changing in that sea glass. You see an archer, you see a drawn bow, you see this beautiful chalice that's just tipping over and pouring out. You see this fierce dragon that's just beating its wings in defiance, and he takes on this wild shape. And this wild shape isn't like, like you've seen Haleth do. It is just, he's ethereal, he's in the stars, and this necklace is shining bright. And the one it settles on is this chalice. And as this chalice is sloshing around and overflowing, he feels an instinctive need to heal himself. And as he does, that healing then extends 30 feet out to another player, and is going to, this chalice just pours down from the stars of starlight and heals Sterling as he casts Cure Wounds on himself and gets his 4 hit points back. And then it reaches out to Hawkins, as my sheet is going to.
Well done, Sterling.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I was worried there. I was like, after I moved away, I was hoping to split the pack, but it did not happen. So, okay, it's going to be 1d8 plus 4. So
no, unlike you three, the wolves know to stay together.
Oh, so you get 5 hit points back there, and Sterling's at full, and he is very relaxed. And he, seeing as much as he sees now, his eyes are flickering. He's gonna do the wolf's first attack as a 7, because he's got portent. Divine portent, so he's going to impose that number that he's seen and give a shout to Hawkins, hey, this one's coming from the right, and he's going to be able to dodge it and impose that 7.
Ooh, nice. Well done, well done. Now that you're awake, Hawkins, you hear the cries of Sterling just manifesting all of this divine or divination power, promising you and almost, seeing things before they happen. And that wolf looks at you with a sing-songy voice, cackling and laughing and, again, gleefully dancing, almost as if it's having fun, tormenting this poor creature. Its peacock feathers rise, and it is your turn. Oh, the wolf's turn. It is the wolf's turn. Sterling, what do you look like right now?
So right now you see this large Samoan-like man on his knees with the big bright light on the sea glass around his neck that looks like a chalice. It's like an illuminated constellation around his neck, and it is bleeding over into his skin, and just like the starlight is dazzling off the specks of water on his skin, and you see his beard kind of waving as if it's underwater as well. He's looking still determined and fierce, especially now that he sees that his friend is back up.
Having suddenly changed your appearance garners the attention of one of the wolves. This peacock hybrid wolf begins to hear this prophecy come out. It pulls away from the gnome, who is obviously slain, moves towards you, Sterling, with a natural 20.
Careful what you wish for.
13 points of damage to you.
He's still up.
Wolf just runs over to you and bites onto you, and I do need you to make a strength saving throw. DC 11.
Got a 12.
Yeah, this wolf just rushes up trying to pounce on this large Samoan man and just boom, knocks down to the ground and begins, growling and its tail flailing up as if it's ready to attack. But it pushed your constitution back quite a bit. Hawkins, that other wolf goes to bite you with a 9. You see it coming. Yeah, you see it coming, as Sterling prophesied, instinctively ducking. The other one is going to attack. It gets imposed disadvantage because of the Steel Defender. And that's going to be a 14 to hit.
That hits.
Man.
Hawkins was sleeping. He's not wearing his armor while he's sleeping.
4 points of damage.
All right.
I rolled 2 ones.
Oh boy.
Plus 2, so 4 points of damage. You're still up.
Still up. 1 hit point.
The last wolf, having not been able to reach you, is going to attack the Steel Defender. It's going to be a 17 to hit that does Steel Defender, 7 points of damage to the Steel Defender. When the wolf bites into this Steel Defender, it suddenly just shakes a little bit and then just powers down for a second. The wolf recoils distastefully as it gets this large splash of oil and electricity in its mouth. It yips and its colors begin to diminish. Hawkins, it's now your turn.
Oof. Hawkins is going to stand up. Takes half his movement. And looking regretfully at the Steel Defender, which is powered down, he's going to again take the disengage action. And holding on to the lion again, it will roar for him. And this roar gives him a second wind. And with his extra action, he's going to dash. So I can get 12 and a half plus 25, 37 and a half feet away, which is, their wolf speed is probably 40, but I'm trying.
Okay, so you're booking it.
I'm trying, doing everything I can. And as Hawkins runs, he'll call out, Holif! Holif!
A dryad appears through the tree. Sterling, it's your turn.
Does Sterling notice the dryad that's behind him?
Yeah, she just arrived.
Okay. So he's quickly gonna look back and just be like, "Where's Vaughn? We need him."
Vaughn, he's back in the safety. I'm supposed to take you. He asked you to come with. You must be a good friend. Oh, fairy wolves.
Can you help?
The wolf looks at the dryad and says something. In Sylvan, the dryad does not respond.
So with him seeing Hawkins run off and the dryad over there and just the wolf kind of biting on him, what's going to happen is a big light is going to start welling in that sea glass and strike out at the wolf. Mechanically, it's a guiding bolt going straight for the wolf itself. So he's trying to get it off of him so that he can run to the dryad or run to Hawkins.
13.
It's an 18 plus 6, 24, and then it's 4d6. So this starlight just wells in his chest in this glass and bursts out on this wolf on his neck, and it does 17 points of damage.
Sterling, take the wheel. This wolf begins to plant its legs in front of you. Its tail fans up in a peacock feather. It says something in Sylvan to the dryad, a very fairy language. The dryad just mouth agape, her eyes wide, looks at you, looks at the wolf, looks back at you, and refuses to respond to the wolf. The wolf then goes to snap at you, and then...
So Sterling's still on his knees, and now the wolf's kind of off of him a little bit. He looks down and sees this constellation, and as you see it, it's the starlight starts to gather into it, and out from it, it just lets out this big beam of light, this radiant beam of starlight that just vanquishes. There's nothing left, not even a spore from its mushroom. It is gone.
Vaughn, you begin to hear a young gnomish voice calling out, Holith! Holith! You can tell that it's Hawkins, and it is coming back to where the way you came. It is now your turn.
Vaughn hears the voice and he looks in the direction that he thinks it's coming from. But does he see anything?
Not at this moment.
He'll start moving in that direction, even though he's not super convinced that what he's doing is going to get him to them because he doesn't understand the magic. But he's going to go towards the voice, and he'll does he recognize it as Hawkins' voice?
And in trouble.
Okay, yeah, then he's going to do his full movement. He's going to dash, which is 100 feet. So he's going to book it.
Okay. Let's see. I think as you use all your movement and you run as fast as you can towards the voice of Hawkins, you begin to see in the distance, you start to see Hawkins' body moving through the brush, and running as fast as he can, finally back onto the road.
All right. So do I see that? Do I see that as I'm finishing up that 100 feet of run?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then he will also use his. All of a sudden, he kicks it into a second gear, another gear that he didn't even know he had, and he runs an additional 50 feet because he now sees Hawkins. So now he's gone 150 feet because and all of a sudden he's kind of looking at his feet like, what is going on? But he's totally covering the ground. Mechanically, that's Step of the Wind.
Oh, man, it's beautiful. I was wondering if you were going to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool that Vaughn realizes in this moment of need that his body is harnessing this magical energy all around him and using it and funneling it towards helping his friend. So Hawkins, you see just almost like instantaneously, Vaughn just begins to appear, and then within 5 feet, he's right in front of you, and now keeping step with you as you're running away. You have a moment to interchange.
Hawkins, what's going on?
It's those wolves that she was telling us about. They're everywhere.
I don't know how I got back here, but I heard you cry, and I ran, and I ran really fast.
I saw that. I think Sterling might still need some help back there, but the Dryad's over by him, so maybe not. I don't know.
Are you okay?
As long as those wolves don't come get me, I'll be fine.
I will do what I can to help you.
And at that moment, the wolves begin tearing through, catching up to Hawkins, meeting you there as if as soon as you say the word wolves, they almost appear out of nowhere and now look at you with green eyes.
Get behind me, Hawkins. Vaughn will try to get in between.
All right, Vaughn. They're going to use their pack tactics against you. It's going to be a 17, a 20, and a 12. 14 points of damage. Then make it a strength saving throw, please. 11 is the DC.
17.
Able to push them off. They're jumping on top of you. You're throwing them left and right, and yet they're still gathered around. And you don't look as like an easy target, yet because you put your hand out in front of Hawkins, you've shielded him from most of the damage. At the top of the round, Hawkins, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
I still don't know.
I know, that's a tough one.
Are there wolves in melee range?
Yes.
Okay. He will pull a short sword off of his belt and attempt to poke one of them back to back with Vaughn here. All right, it is 11 plus 4.
The strike. Do your damage.
6 points damage.
Cries out in anguish, spilling its blood upon the ground and then melts into a pile of mushrooms.
Hey, I think we can do this, Vaughn.
All right. Is that it for you, Hawkins? Let me look something up real quick.
How to handle character death.
Yeah.
Just 5 ways to
Okay.
DK.
All right, that's what I thought. You begin to hear the voice Hawkins, protect, protect. Steel Defender comes rushing up with still another 8 hit points and stands guard in between you and the wolf staring you down. Sterling, it's now your turn. A Triana is calling for you to come into the tree. The wolves run away and chase after Hawkins.
After seeing the effect that Triana had on Vaughn, he is not paying any attention to her. He is totally suspicious of her, almost as suspicious of her as Vaughn was of him. So what he's going to do is he's now, as he's on his knees, this light is still shining out bright. He's going to take his hands and kind of coalesce it and then point a finger towards the another wolf that's on Vaughn. And he's going to shoot another guiding bolt at 120-foot range. To come at him, and he gets a 20, not natural, and he does That one's only 6 points of damage.
Still, Vaughn, as you're standing there, the wolf is ready to snap at you, and it lunges, and you instinctively put up your hand to defend itself, and then a bolt of starlight energy just tears a hole straight through the wolf, and it collapses dead on the ground.
And he will start running towards his friends and shout out as his eyes start flickering, "Hey, it's coming for you again!" and use his last portent for a 9 automatic roll.
The wolves do. The wolf goes to bite you, Hawkins. Once again, with an automatic 9, it misses. The portent coming from Sterling as he prophesied that it was going towards your left. You, this time, move to the right, and the wolf misses you. You saw it coming before it happens. Can you tease that out a little bit of how that looks when Sterling calls out to you?
Hawkins was like having slain the one. He, and feeling that moment of elation, he then looks and sees another one snarling at him, and it almost surprises him because he feels like he just won already. And he's just thinking, what am I going to do? This thing's going to bite me. And then he hears Sterling say, "From the left." And he just, like, without even thinking, he trusts Sterling now. Just boom, without even thinking, sidestep.
Wolf, seeing most of its companions has left, begins to panic and move around a little bit. It begins to whimper, its tail starts to duck between its legs. Vaughn, it is your turn.
Vaughn will take his short sword and try to whack him, smack him.
Go for 11.
That is 13.
Indeed.
6 points of damage.
Vaughn, resolve this situation.
So Vaughn sees the wolf lunge at Hawkins, and Hawkins dodges left, and it puts the wolf's head right in view of Vaughn. So as Hawkins moves and the wolf's head becomes more exposed, the short sword comes down and pierces it in the neck, and it disappears.
The fairy magic seems to leave behind a very sticky residue on your body. The wine and the honey that cakes your weapons from the blood and the spit of these creatures. It's a Cabernet wine, dark red, and a deep amber honey. The Steel Defender cranks over to you, Hawkins. Protect, and just rests for a minute, having some of its wires shorted out, leaking a tremendous amount of oil. Sterling, you come rushing up and you see that your Sojourners are doing just fine.
All right, if this is like a foreshadowing of how hard combat's going to be forever, then let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah, let's do it. Patrick, man, I can't believe you pulled off some amazing stuff. That was... It's cool watching y'all start to use your techniques.
Yeah, those second level techniques really came in handy.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I'm very glad I kind of boosted y'all up a little bit. Y'all definitely accomplished plenty last session. So, with the forest quiet in this moment, out of breath, bleeding, bruised, sore, possibly in a great amount of pain, you all have a moment before Holith or Trina makes an appearance. For you remembered that they were at least looking for you.
Hawkins immediately goes to the Steel Defender and starts like assessing the damage on it and even trying to start to make a couple critical repairs. And like 5 seconds into it, he just pauses and sort of lets the air out and says, "Thank you, guys. You guys have saved me at least twice now, and I just met you. I might be in over my head."
I'm so sorry that I left you guys. I didn't want to. I couldn't help it.
That's all right. I think I mean, I could tell that you didn't quite have your wits about you.
Yeah, I don't know what that was, but all of a sudden I couldn't. And then he sees Triana over there and kind of gets on the other side of the guy so that they're between him and her. She made me kiss her and go with her, and I couldn't stop.
I saw you there, Hawkins, with your short sword. You were pretty good with that there. Now, what are you doing to the lion?
Well, you see all the oil and kind of the sparks and things. Just trying to patch it up. It needs patching up just like you and I.
Oh, yeah. I'm completely spent. I've got nothing left. But we need to heal up a little bit.
Before all this began, you were settling in for a night of rest. And Vaughn, at this moment, all the adrenaline and the magical energy of the universe has moved in you and through you. The nerves that you had before seem to have been resolved as you've tapped into this brand new power. Unlike before, you feel like at this point you could take a long rest and have plenty of night's sleep if you needed to.
I feel like we could take one here.
You no longer under the effects of that constitution fail
Got it.
last
Okay.
session. You could
Got
not
it.
get a long rest last session, but because you started to tap into your key, it fritzed out the nerves that were holding you back.
Got it. Vaughn would look at the guys and say, I too need to rest, but I don't see how we're going to get rest here. I could see Bald Top Library from right over there, and he points from where he ran from. I don't know how it worked, but I got to you very quickly from where Trina took me. Maybe if we just walk this way, we'll be there, and then we'll see the library. I think we should move.
You see a couple signs at this point now that everything's quiet. Corkscrew Way. Corkscrew Highway. Bald Top. 1 mile. Vaughn, as you're moving through this little small dirt road, you recognize that Trina did not take you that far. It felt like 1,000,000 miles an hour, but in reality, you were no more than maybe half a mile away on the other side of the forest. Now coming into contact with Corkscrew Highway, if you all press on, your feet moving underneath the dirt, you see in the distance the beautiful Mavi Ocean, a crystal clear blue ocean water with the moon gently hanging in the sky, the stars just expanding over this wonderful view of the horizon in the west coast. Bald Top stands like a large white citadel, nestled up against the black volcanic cliffside rocks against the ocean, with this one single dirt patch cutting through the peninsula, leading up to the closed gate of Bald Top Library. A few lights flicker in the windows and on the citadel walls, but beyond the library, miles of endless ocean and black, sharp rocks protecting it from its backside. What do you pay attention to, Sterling?
So Sterling, once he gets over the contrast of the white citadel on the black mountains, just his eyes naturally draw to the ocean and the blues and the waves, and he has a weird feeling because he tries to hide because he doesn't quite feel like secure around the ocean right now. And so he's in a little bit of two minds, but he is definitely moving forward. But as I said, he's trying to shield himself from the ocean.
Vaughn is looking at the library and from a distance trying to figure out how we get in, how we get to safety and to a place that we can rest, because he knows the party is not feeling well. And so he's focused on the gates, the pathway, any guards or anything like that. Just kind of game playing in his mind what this is going to look like to be the most efficient path into the library and to the sleeping quarters and living quarters.
Vaughn, as you scan the horizon and just get a survey of the area, it seems like it's a pretty straight path. Although this dirt road, the corkscrew highway, is very quiet and humble, it's a straight shot and seems to have been made directly for wagons of books to arrive at Bald Top Library. Travelers and pilgrims have made their way here throughout hundreds of years. But Hawkins, what do you notice during this time?
Hawkins is very nervous. He's spooked. So he's paying attention. He's not looking ahead. He's not looking out. He's looking around and behind, making sure that nothing's about to jump out. Any little critter that moves in the forest, he jumps at the sound of it. He's not having fun.
Sterling, you can tell that there are only 2 hours of night left before the sun rises. You see a sign, Bald Top Library, open from sunrise to sundown. The gates seem to be closed at this moment. The lights flicker on the castle wall. And Vaughn, as you step onto the dirt road, you see 2 large wagon tracks scrawled off to the right. And Hawkins, you step your small foot into a very large footprint, about 14 inches long. A small little wagon wheel spoke is littered on the side of the road. How do you proceed?
This doesn't look good, guys. I'm glad Bald Top Library has walls, I guess, because it doesn't look like this is a very nice place to be out here. See these big tracks?
Yes, that's quite a footprint, and I see wagon tracks, but they're going off to the side. And can we continue this way? And he points directly at Bald Top.
We can, but the sign says it doesn't open till sunrise, and we got about a couple hours just looking where the moon is right now before we can get there. So we should find a quiet place near here. I hope the owner of this wagon is friendly.
If he is not, we could be in very big trouble. I think we should go to the library and make our way in.
You continue on the path, you follow through, and the peninsula begins to narrow, and on either side of you, without any gate or fence, is the smell of the ocean rushing up to greet your senses. You can hear the waves crashing about 100 feet down below you. This large peninsula rock leads up and gets more and more black and volcanic the closer you get to the citadel. When you approach Bald Top Library, you see that the gates are closed at this moment, and there's a small little cottage, an old ruined church building that had been disassembled over time, scattering across to your right. A roof is kicked over on the side, a couple ruined buildings, 3 sides of a building seems to have been knocked over by some kind of storm in the past. And over on your left-hand side, there are more ruins of rocks and trees that have grown over despite the passing of time. There's no real light here except for the natural light of the moon and the stars. The gate is closed.
Vaughn is going to try the gate and maybe knock on it.
You knock. You wait.
How tall is the gate?
About 15 feet high. There's no apparent door, handle on the side. Once again, the sign is posted, Bald Top Library. You wait. Sterling, the sun is due to come up in about 15 minutes. As the sun comes up, as soon as the light of the eastern sun begins to touch the door cracks open. With sleep in your eyes, stiff joints, and a long night, the door begins to open, and out steps 5 purple-robed witnesses and attendants. This has been a production of The Bookish and the Brave by Sojourners Awake. Thank you to the Sojourners who played, and to you, the Sojourners who listened and related this story into your own. If you liked this background music and ambiance, you should check out Tabletop Audio at www.tabletopaudio.com. If you are interested in Dungeon Master coaching, I am offering a one-time class to get you back on track. Perhaps you're a Dungeon Master experiencing burnout, writer's block, or plain old have just fallen out of love with the game and you seek to rekindle that storytelling bug that you once enjoyed. Check out www.sojournersawake and check out Dungeon Master Fatigue. At Sojourners Awake, we tell these stories because they are our stories. They are stories of ourselves, people we know, friends, and family. We put them together for your listening pleasure. At Sojourners Awake, my mission is to remind everyone that we are all artists. We are all storytellers. So let these stories spark that creative hope and energy within you. And as always, may your story continue.